Man, listen, Biggie was a big teddy bear, man. He was so sweet. Now, he intimidated because he a big dude. But when you get to loving on him and squeezing on him, he is just a big teddy bear. He tried to work out every situation. He tried to make peace with everybody. That's why the world was so crushed when his life was, taken away so viciously. Like, everybody that knew him was like, man, no, that not Big. Big tried to fix everything and love on everybody. He even made all his women try to be friends. Like, Biggie was like the teddy bear of our century, for real. I miss him and love him so much. He would have made such a difference in the rap game today, yo.
Biggie's death is being discussed in the streets once more, and this time, the Brat is the one being highlighted for what she may have seen, because it seems like she may have seen much more than she ever disclosed.
Landon, getting my page. I go to I'm looking at the news in the airport, and the Brat is sitting on the ground crying. I never forget that. Brat is sitting on the curb crying, and I'm like, what happened? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Right on the corner of Fairfax and Wilshire, right there. So I'm like, yo, everybody was outside. Like, how could that happen? Because people couldn't get in the party too. It wasn't like everybody's in the party. Nobody was outside. It was a lot of people outside, bro. So people saw it.
The question is, what did Brat see, and did she escape in time? Well, we know that back in the day, Brat was one of the few women navigating that male-dominated, high-stakes hip-hop industry, and not just surviving but thriving. She worked with Biggie, and the two of them collaborated on a notable song called The Side, which was featured on the soundtrack of the 1995 Bad. The Brat was right there in the mix, close with Jermaine Dupri, making hits and rubbing shoulders with all the big names in the mid-90s, including Biggie and the entire bad boy circle. Jermaine Dupri, who is also the producer and had a close working relationship with both artists, has talked about Biggie's admiration for Brat and her talent, as well as how their relationship was based on their mutual respect for each other's artistic abilities in the hip-hop scene and their shared musical pursuits. Biggie also appeared in the remix video for the Brat song, Give It To You. The Brat also lived in the same circles as Diddy, so she was privy to all of the drama on the off-record, including the parties, the secret deals, and the pandemonium. Some people think she saw things that caused her to back off, but have you ever wondered why she avoided becoming involved in the deeper mess that engulfed so many people at the time? It seems like she saw the storm coming and chose to avoid it. However, before she did so, there was growing speculation that she might have known what happened to Biggie and how Diddy was involved. After all, it has been said countless times by various people that Biggie was planning to leave Bad Boy and Diddy wasn't going to let him go easily. That this might have been the main reason he was removed. In that Rolling Stone expose on Diddy, a number of people claimed that Biggie and Diddy had never gotten along and that he had pushed Bad Boy staff to concentrate on marketing and album sales for Biggie's release life after death after Biggie passed away, as if he wasn't even grieving and was preoccupied with the album becoming the #1 album. It also appears that Diddy continued to try to steal Biggie's shine after Biggie's death, according to an incident recounted by Kirk Burroughs, who claims that Rolling Stone approached Bad Boy with the opportunity for Biggie's legacy. Instead, Kirk claimed to be saying to Diddy, "Let's make it Biggie. You still have a chance for a cover in the future." Diddy desired the slot. But Diddy replied, "No, he's dead. I'm putting out Cole's debut album, No Way Out, in July. I need to be on the cover of Rolling Stone." That's how Diddy got on the cover of the magazine Puff Daddy, the new king of hip-hop, in 1997. The Rolling Stone story also noted that Diddy had an interview with them 2 years after the cover was out, in which he acknowledged that Biggie's passing caused. When he informed them, "I think his passing added to the fame. He made a lot of money." At least 2 million of the nearly 5 million copies of No Way Out that were sold were directly related to his passing, which doesn't feel good, but that's the truth. According to Kirk Boros' article, Diddy was jealous of Biggie's friendship with Tupac prior to their feud. It seems that Diddy wanted a friendship with Pac, but Tupac wasn't interested because he didn't respect Diddy at all. In fact, it's assumed that Diddy started the friendship. The beef because Kirk also claimed that Diddy was the one who encouraged Biggie to write beefy songs and even released Biggie's single, Who Shot You, in 1995 because he knew it would be interpreted as a jab at Tupac. Additionally, When Biggie's mother was still living, she frequently expressed her belief that the LAPD conspired to conceal the details of her son's death, and she even spoke out loud about it. For example, she once claimed that the LAPD detectives who looked into the case knew who was responsible for her son's death, but that a conspiracy prevented the case from ever being resolved. She stated that she was aware that the LAPD had conducted their investigation and discovered the truth, but they simply refused to proceed, and she was perplexed as to why they never detained those involved. According to Valletta, it appeared to her that there was a single, massive conspiracy, and that someone was undoubtedly being protected at some point. In addition, she discussed consenting to participate in the Project City of Lies, which focuses on the corruption involved in stifling the investigation. She actually talked more about the corruption involved, saying, "I have a strong hope that I don't care that it takes 40 years for the truth to be revealed before someone is held responsible for their actions." They did everything they could under the real investigation to put the case on the shelf and keep the truth from coming to light because they don't want to expose these police officers for the crooks they are. They only wanted to save their retirement and didn't want to upset anyone or invite people from the East Coast to visit. She even stated that she agreed to participate in the city of. She said, "I hope and pray that the truth would expose them individually." Russell died exposing them. He was a man of his word. His wife said he died of a broken heart because he didn't see justice. All he saw was corruption and pure lies. Everything was hidden. She said this not only in honor of Biggie's music, but also for Russell P., who passed away during the investigation. It also doesn't help because Gene Deal and others expressly stated that Biggie's automobile was marked on the day he was delivered.
So my whole thing about it is that it was somebody in our crew that wanted them to know that Big was in that bid. And to separate, that's where you get there was more than one people trying to. You understand? Correct. That's where you get that at, brother. That there was more than one, different people was trying to. Because somebody wanted to know, yo, if y'all gonna get big, you gonna call with the sickness.
People now claim that the Brat knew who was at odds with whom, what calls were being made behind closed doors, and how things changed after Biggie became too big. Although she has always maintained her composure in public, there are a few clips of her making subtle remarks that give the impression that she knows far more than she has ever disclosed.
A personal friend of mine was an amazing person. He was like a big teddy bear, one of the sweetest people that I knew. And what was amazing about him to me was when we would go in the studio together, because we have a song together called a B-side, and I'm on a couple of those mixes that he did. My voice in the background that Jermaine Dupri did. But he would go in the studio and he wouldn't write anything down. So when I was writing with him, I would have my pen and paper and I would just be writing, and I'd be ready with my verse thinking that he ain't working. I got him beat. I'm finna beat him and go in the studio and record before him. Little did I know he had already wrote it in his head. He was the first person that I saw that never wrote anything down. And I don't know how he did that, because he could smoke you under the table. So I'm like, how you smoke so much weed and can remember that and not use a pen and paper to write it down? So Biggie was an amazing person, very talented, and I'm happy to have known him.
According to rumors, she is aware of some intimate details about what Diddy did to people, but she has always been too afraid to share what she witnessed, so she has sort of backed off. However, if rumors are to be believed, Brat may be getting ready to spill some serious secrets, and fans are ready for it. On the other hand, some argue that the Brat should be among the last to expose Diddy because of her dubious past. You all know about that incident involving A. The Atlanta Falcons cheerleader, who was working part-time as a waitress and hostess at Studio 72, a nightclub owned by Jermaine Dupri and Tucker, was jumped by a Brat while she was hosting a private Halloween party there. She was sentenced to 3 years in prison, 7 years of probation, and 200 hours of community service. Additionally, the Brat was required to undergo substance treatment, a mental evaluation, and anger management classes at the time of the incident. In a lawsuit, Shayla claimed that she was trying to leave Brat when he smashed a nearly full bottle of rum over her head. She also claimed that Jermaine Dupri and his security guards failed to take Brat out of the club and failed to shield her from Brat during the altercation. As if that wasn't enough, Jermaine neglected to get her the proper medical attention or to report that to the police out of concern for negative publicity for Studio 72. Harm in addition to medical treatment and pain and suffering, she claimed that her career as a professional cheerleader and actress was cut short due to her facial disfigurement, which resulted in a loss of income. I believe the Brat has yet to pay the money she was ordered to pay, which is approximately $8 million, up from the initial $6.4 million. She also suffered severe cuts to her head and face, which caused permanent scarring and nerve damage. People have been saying that, given history, perhaps she should sit this one out. She was arrested after allegedly fighting with a woman over VIP seats at a nightclub in Georgia. During the altercation, the woman was reportedly hit over the head with a gun, taken to the hospital, and given 6 stitches. The following year, the Brat pleaded guilty to reckless conduct, a misdemeanor, and was sentenced to 80 hours of community service, a $1,000 fine, and a year of probation, on building her brand, her music, and eventually her media career. Some people claim that this wasn't just a personal development, but rather a strategic one. Like, she saw the writing on the wall and decided to leave on her own because those who stayed too close to the fire know how that turned out. So the real question is, was the Brat one of the fortunate ones or one of the intelligent ones? And if she ever made the decision to share her side of the story, would she reveal what she knows about Biggie's in a living? Would she validate the rumors about what actually transpired behind the scenes and the bad boy empire? Or is she simply keeping quiet for a reason? As I mentioned, rumors are that she also intends to reveal what she knows. As we wait, please share your thoughts in the space provided below.